Last night I slept with my window open. Last night I made the mistake of opening my window before I went to bed. It was a warm night and the house ran a little hot on the second floor. Pushing open the window seemed like a reasonable method of relieving this problem. I woke up at about 4:30 in the morning. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. My wife was lying beside me, snoring softly. I had this odd prickling on the back of my neck, but I ignored it in favour of paying attention to the desperate thirst I felt. Deciding to remedy this, I slid out of bed and padded in my bare feet to the kitchen, pouring myself a glass of water. I was only in the kitchen for about 5 minutes, finishing off my water. Then I made my way back to the bedroom. That was when the world turned on its head. The first thing that stood out about the creature was its eyes, sunken low into its face. They were surrounded by shadows. They were reflective like a cat's, catching the low light of the room and reflecting it back, yellow and flat and glinting. The skin of its face was baggy and hung around its eye sockets, falling in rolls down its gaunt face. The skin parted in a lipless grin, long needle-like teeth. The gore of my wife hung from its teeth. Its body was just as emaciated as its face. I could see every bone in its grossly elongated body. It had too many ribs, and its arms were too long for its body. It stood crouched and hunched over, its elbows scraping against the ground, its fingers, skinny, with each joint as long as a single finger should be, dug into the corpse of my wife. It was cradling her body, her chest and stomach ripped out, her organs tumbled over the edges of the newly created cavity, dragging against the floor. Puddles of blood were forming beneath the places they connected with the floor. The creature was staring at me. Its jaw had stopped moving. That's when its jaw unhinged, dropping open and hitting the floor. Pieces of my wife's half-chewed flesh falling out and rolling across the floor. It screamed. Its scream was something I can't do justice. It was high-pitched like a dog whistle, but loud. It was piercing. I clapped my hands over my ears, but it didn't do a thing to muffle the scream. It did, however, muffle the thump of my wife's body hitting the floor. Then it was on all fours and lunging towards me. I bolted. I made it out the door and sprinted down the hallway, glancing over my shoulder to see the creature folding itself in impossible ways as it climbed through the doorway. I hit the stairs, practically tumbling down them. My feet were moving so fast, only staying upright because I clung to the railing. Once I hit the living room, I bolted. Navigating my way past the easy chair and furniture, I made it across the floor and scrambled for the door. There was another scream as I twisted the doorknob and flung myself into the yard. I turned round, expecting to see the creature climbing out after me. Nothing. There was dead silence. The screaming was gone, and so was the skitter-scratch noise of the creature moving through the hallway. I sat and gathered myself for a moment. What the hell had I seen? Or had I seen it at all? It was so ridiculous. A monster that must have been 9 foot tall with a gaunt body and razor-sharp teeth. It was so surreal, like something out of a nightmare. Had I really seen anything at all, or was it just some ghastly hallucination? Reinforcing this new theory was the fact that I couldn't hear a single thing. Nothing was coming through the door. There were no awful screams. I sat on the lawn for 5 minutes just thinking, the cold night air chilling my sweat-soaked body. Then I finally got up the nerve to stand up and walk into the house. Each step was a challenge. The house towered above me, seemingly endless, daunting in its size. I could practically see the cold, reflective eyes staring at me out the windows, but I pushed forward. The living room was empty. So was the hallway, and so was my bedroom. Well, calling it empty is a bit misleading. There were still pools of blood on the floor, and there were bits of flesh littering the floor. But the creature was gone, and so was my wife's corpse. The smell was awful, coppery and thick. It hung heavy in the air. It gagged me. But I managed to breathe in through my nose and swallow hard enough to keep from vomiting. The next few hours were a blur. I called the police, of course, and I told them everything, from waking up to coming back to my room to facing a giant monster to running out onto my lawn at 4:30 in the morning to coming back inside and seeing the scattered bits of gore. I wasn't arrested on the spot, but I think I will be soon. I'm the only one who could have done it. I had the time. and a giant monster broke into my house isn't exactly a prime excuse. Maybe they'll think I had a psychotic break of some kind and hallucinated the giant monster and killed my wife. Maybe I did. I don't know. I'm not sure what to do now. I don't feel safe in my home. I'm staying in a hotel right now. I came home during the day and packed up. In the daylight, I feel safe. And for a while, I thought maybe I was overreacting. I tried to stay the night in my own home, but by the time night started to fall, I started to feel like something was watching me. And even if I was just imagining it, I couldn't bear to be in the house. I grabbed the suitcase I packed and got the hell out. I'm sitting in a hotel room as I type this. I don't know what to do. I described this to an online friend of mine, and he said it sounded like something that belonged on No Sleep, so I decided to post it here. I don't know what I'm expecting. Maybe someone can help me or identify